My very favorite place is right here. I was here 3 years ago, and I worked with one of the sharpest fourth grade classes I have ever seen, and I have heard from reliable sources that this class is even better. We're going to find out. Before we actually get started with some of the curriculum material, what I'd like to ask you is a very important question. And with Mr. Tocco, there are no really right or wrong answers because everybody's entitled to their own ideas, aren't they? So what I'd like to ask you right now, and before you answer, I'd like you to think just a minute, just for a few seconds. I'm going to ask you how you feel, and I'd like you to respond telling us how you're feeling this morning. So, how do you feel? Just tell me how you feel. Oh, now everybody said good. Now everybody can't be feeling good. I want you to be honest and open. I mean, communication, the most important part of communication is being honest. So think about it. I mean, how are you feeling right now? Is anybody, I mean, somebody could be feeling tired, or they could be mad. They could even be sad. Could you be sad? Somebody be sad. Maybe your dog broke his foot yesterday or something. I mean, you know, is anybody really excited? Oh, there's some of the back are really excited. That's great. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? Looking for something that characterizes how you're actually feeling right now. You might even be bored right now. So let's try it one more time now. Think about how, never mind how anybody else is feeling. I'm interested in how you are feeling. So let's try it again. How do you feel? Well, that was terrific. Now, we had a whole variety of things there. Now, that's more honest. That's what we like, is candidness and honesty. Now, let me show you something. I'm guessing that there's enough people in this room to have characterized every feeling that we can really possibly have. So take a look at this and see if you recognize what you just said on here. How many said they were happy? Is anybody happy in the room? Well, we got a few that are happy, okay. Anybody excited? A lot of excited. Anybody feeling great? Well, nobody's feeling great yet. Well, that's good. That's good. It means we got a ways to go. Is anybody feeling sad about anything? Okay, terrific. Thanks for your honesty. Anybody feeling bored? Feel bored? Yeah, well, school will do that to you at times. Anybody feeling tired? Okay, good. All right. That's wonderful. Now, let me ask you this. For those of you who are on this side of sad, bored, tired, how would you like to be over on the other side? And those of you on this side that are feeling happy, excited, and great, how would you like to feel even better? Could I see a show of hands? Well, look at that. That's almost everyone. Let's give it a try. Here's how we do this. How many have heard of Abraham Lincoln? What? That's almost everyone. Who was he? Who was he? The 16th President of the United States of America. One of the things that he is best remembered by as having said is, every person is just about as happy as they set their mind to be. Wow, what a profound thing. What does that mean? That means that you and I are responsible for our own feeling good. You're as happy as you set your mind to be. So let's try this one more time to see if we can't raise the level of enthusiasm and happiness in this room. I'm going to ask you how you feel. I'd like you to role play with me. And I'd like you to respond, terrific. Let's give it a try. How do you feel? Terrific. Oh, come on. What's the feeling? This is your life. How do you feel? Terrific. Woo. Now that makes me feel good. Now we're ready to get started. Thank you very much. Now, this may seem kind of silly because you might say to yourself, well, doggone it, I can't really feel terrific every single day, can I? I mean, how many thought that to themselves? I'm sure a few of you did. Well, let me tell you a little story about my friend Joe Girard, who was the only person who has ever been in the Guinness Book. How many have heard of the Guinness Book of World Records? Yes, he's in it. He's the only person who's ever been in it as the greatest salesman in the entire world. He was in it 12 years in a row. Let me tell you, he got there. He got there by selling 6 cars on the average every single working day, 12 years in a row. That's right. He sold 6 automobiles every single day. Now, that was on the average. Now, Joe and I became friends in 1979. I think that's probably before Most of you were born in here. Well, anyway, I knew Joe for over a year. And he had written 3 books that were on the New York Times best-selling list. And I said, Joe, I said, now, don't be offended by this, but I read your books. And I read them carefully. But I'm still curious as how in the world did you sell so many cars to so many people? Did you have the best deal worked out with General Motors Corporation, so you got such a low price that you passed that low price on all your customers and they couldn't get a better deal anyplace else? Well, he said, no. I said, Joe, I said, what in the world then were all these people buying? He said, Don, they were buying my enthusiasm. I said, Joe, what you're telling me is you were excited every day. He said, that's right. He said, well, Don, let me tell you something. When I got up in the morning, I wasn't always excited. How many sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you're not all that excited? You bet. Well, Joe wasn't either. He wasn't either, so he had to get an attitude adjustment. Do you know what he did? He gave himself every morning, when he didn't feel terrific, he gave himself a pep talk. I said, Joe, I said, you're telling me that's what you did, that's how you got excited? I said, what is a pep talk? How did you do it? He said, well, a pep talk is a self-talk. It's where you get yourself excited. He said, what I would do is I would get dressed and I would go to the full-length mirror that exited, was on the door that exited into the garage. And he said, before I would leave the house, he said, I would look at myself in that full-length mirror and I'd ask myself 2 questions. First of all, do I look like the kind of person someone would want to buy a car from today? Handsome devil that I am, he said. I always said yes to that question. He said, but then I would ask myself, do you have your enthusiasm machine turned on? Are you excited about yourself and your life so you can get other people excited about your ideas? He said, my answer wasn't always yes. So when it wasn't yes, I would look at myself again in that full-length mirror and I would say, I feel good. I feel great. Look out, world. I'm coming out one more time. Now, how did you start your day today? Oh, no, it's Monday. And we got, oh, I got to go. I'm not done with that homework. And we got to go. We got that thing this morning. It's going to take me away from my class. And you have all these thoughts going on in your head. See? So let me tell you, my young friends, on those future mornings from this day forward, if you want to really get excited about your life, your friends, your family, curriculum, whatever it is, I highly recommend and encourage you, and want to ask you for the next 30 days, every morning, to give yourself the Joe Girard pep talk. Now, how many think they'd be willing to give it a try? Whoa, look at that. That's almost everybody. Now, guess what? You're not going to be tested on this, so it's really going to be up to you. But if you want to be great at something like Mr. Girard was, I'm going to highly recommend give it a try. And oh, by the way, your brothers and sisters and your mom and dad, they're going to be shocked that first time you go, I feel good. They're going to be shocked, I'm telling you. But after about 20 days or so, you're going to see them going around, I feel good. I feel great. Let's give it a try here. It's I feel good, I feel great. Look out, world. I'm coming out one more time. I want to see, get those hands up there. Here we go. I feel good. I feel great. Look out, world. I'm coming out one more time. Yes. Give yourself some appreciation. Whoa, that was excellent. Man, I'm telling you. Now, Mr. Tocco's #1 reason for being with you for these next 5 weeks is going to be to encourage you to seek what the Greeks, how many like to learn a Greek word this morning? Another language. It's another language. Thank you very much. The word is arete. Everybody say it together. Arete. And arete is the root word of aristocracy. And many years ago, the aristocracy were referred to as the people who had it all in life. They had it all. They were educated. They were capable of enjoying the arts and culture. They enjoyed their music. They could read and study literature and poetry. They were very bright people. They had money. They could travel. They were the aristocracy. Well, you see, my young friends, every person can have it all in life. You can have it all in life, and whatever that means to you personally, if you are willing to become the best possible you compared to nobody else. Now, this is the catch right here, my young friends. It's to become the best you compared to no one else. And why do you think it's important not to compare yourself with other people? Give me some ideas. Yes? That's right. What else?
Because there's always going to be somebody better.
That's right. There are going to be people better, hey, for the time being, right? If you measure yourself today against somebody else, maybe they are a little better than you today. But what about 5 years from now? Right? So why compare yourself with that person today? Because who knows what's going to happen in the future. What's some other reasons? This is very good so far. Another reason is not to compare yourself with others. Yes?
Everyone's different.
Yes, everybody's different. Isn't that great? And can't we look at the differences and see those differences, and rather than be critical of those differences, why not appreciate them and celebrate them? Because God did make every one of us different. God made us all different. Now, imagine, if you would, for just a moment, if He would have made us out of, say, cookie cutters. You guys ever make cookies?
Yeah.
You use cookie cutter? How do those cookies come out? They all look the same, don't they? Imagine if we're all the same. All looked exactly the same. All had the same name. Hey, Frank, everybody would turn. Right? Wouldn't they? Everybody have to go to the bathroom at the same time. Holy Moses. Well, I mean, what a boring place to be. Everybody order a hamburger at the same time. All right, what are some of the other reasons we should not compare ourselves to other people? Yes?
You have to be yourself.
Be yourself, exactly. What else? Great ideas. You guys are red hot this morning. Some other ideas why we shouldn't compare. Can it make us jealous? You know what jealousy is? That's that ugly, ugly word that where somebody has something we don't, and people want it. Is that a positive or a negative term? What do you think?
Negative.
It sure is. You want to just stay away from those negative feelings because they really never can benefit you very much. Anybody else got any ideas on why we should not compare ourselves with other people? Yes?
Because we're special the way we are.
You're special exactly the way you are. Very good. We had one more hand back there.
Because it might make you so sad that you're just not happy with it.
Exactly right. It'll make you sad, make you depressed, and you won't want to do anything that's productive and creative. So, my young friends, it is imperative that in order to seek arete, which is to become the best possible you compared to no one else, you must not compare yourself with other people. Let's all say this together. Arete, to become the best possible you compared to no one else. Now, in order to work on these things and strive for personal excellence, you must employ, you must engage, you must use every single day the single greatest power that you possess. Who thinks they know what their single greatest power is? What do you think? Now remember, there's no right and wrong answers because everybody's entitled to an opinion. Yes?
Our education.
Your education, very important. I'm looking for another word. Yes?
Your self-respect.
Self-effect. Okay, I'm looking for another word. That's good. Yes?
Health.
Health. Whoa, very important. Yes? Family. Very important. Looking for another word.
Friends.
Friends. Oh, boy. Aren't friends great? Hope your friends are lifelong. Yes?
Relatives.
Relatives. Yeah. Aunts and uncles, grandparents. That's great. The single greatest power that you possess.
Parents.
Parents. Very good. Yes? Yes?
Free will.
Free will. Whoa, we're getting warm. Yes?
Sisters and brothers.
Sisters and brothers?
Cousins.
Cousins, okay. The single greatest power, it's something that you possess. You used it today. You're using it right now. You will use it when Mr. Tocco's gone. Yes?
Your mind.
Your mind. Oh, it's part of the mind. Yes.
Your brain.
Your brain is part of the brain. Yes. Yes.
Your life.
Your life. Close.
Your thoughts.
Your thoughts. Whoa, you guys are, I'm telling you, like the hot potato. Whew, man. Yes.
Your imagination.
Whoa, very close. Yes.
Your soul.
Your soul. Close. Yes.
Your feelings.
Looking for another word.
Conscience.
Conscience.
Think.
Ooh, wow, I'm telling you. This guy, I knew it. Miss Sister Margaret, where are you? This glass is incredible. I told you. Yes.
Your decisions.
Decisions. Whew, you guys are so close. Two more.
Emotions.
Emotions, part of emotion.
Your opinion.
Your opinion. Nope. Guys, so good, so close. The single greatest power you possess is the power to choose. It's to choose. Now let's find out. Look at the illustrations already this morning. You choose how you feel, don't you? Mr. Lincoln said you did. The President of the United States, 16th President, said you choose your feelings. You had to some degree, you had a choice of what to wear, shoes. Now you have a choice here this morning. You had a choice this morning as you sit here, whether you want to listen or not. Or guess what? You see Mr. Tocco, if you have your eyes open and you're looking at Mr. Tocco, he thinks you're listening. I'm very impressed. You're all looking at me. But you may be thinking about something else. You may be thinking about the basketball game yesterday. Or something, who knows? Choice. So, what kind of choices do we want to make? We want to make positive choices. Choices that are going to ultimately be good for you. That is your single greatest power. Today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Now, in order to really be very effective in making good choices, you have to employ another element of your being. Who thinks they might know what that is? I'm going to go in the back here because I lifted that up and you guys might have seen a word. Yes, what do you think it might be? Yes?
For ourselves.
Pardon me? Why, did you see that one? All right, yes, that's exactly right. Your number one ability is the ability to think, because you have to think first to make the good choices. Let me tell you how profound thinking for yourself really is. How many here have heard of Dr. Albert Schweitzer? Anyone? Dr. Albert Schweitzer? Does anybody know how many doctorate degrees he had? It's great that you even heard of him. He had 5. He had 5 doctorate degrees. Now, he had 2 in the medical sciences, 1 in theology, 1 in philosophy, and 1 in musicology. By age 30, he had written the most exhaustive treatise, the longest book, the most intense research ever done on the life of Jesus Christ by the time he was 30. He was a world-recognized organist. He was summoned from great symphony houses all over the world to go and play. And he is known to have said, the single greatest thing that a young person can do is learn how to think for themselves. So we're going to help you learn how to think for yourself, teach you how to make positive choices. Good choices are going to be good for you and also good for other people. Now, since we are going to be enjoying each other's company, hopefully, for about 5 different sessions, how would you like to know a little more about Mr. Tocco's past, especially when he was your age, when he was 9? Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I sat down and was writing some things down, and as I was remembering when I was 9, I used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I lived just 2 houses from the school. I went to school in Warren, and I lived 2. It was really nice because I could get up pretty late, couldn't I? I mean, you know how it takes to go 2 houses. And I didn't have any brothers or sisters. But I wasn't really sad about that because I made my friends, really, really close friends, and Ron and Don Whitaker, who lived right next door, they were my very best friends. I also had a dog, and she was kind of like my sister, and we hung around quite a bit together. Her name was Duchess. She was a German Shepherd, and she was a big dog. This dog had teeth. You know the front teeth? How many know what a German Shepherd is? I'm telling you, you ever see their teeth? I mean, you don't want to get too close, but I mean, if you lift their lips up, I mean, they got teeth like this. Well, I used to cut grass, rake leaves, shovel snow, take out the garbage, do the dishes, stuff like that. I mean, I had to do that at 9. You think that's fair? Well, I didn't. Well, actually, now that I think about it, it was a pretty good idea. I know you guys don't like the idea of having to do those things, and I'm sure that some of you may do some of those things. But at any rate, I used to get paid to do this. I used to get $0.25 a week. Now, how many think that's really cheap? Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, even to these days, even then it was cheap. I used to tell my mother, I said, you know, really, can't I get more than 2 bits? But that was it, quarter. Anyway, so I used to do these things, and I used to save this money. So finally, after a year and a half, I like playing baseball. So I went and I bought my own glove. I paid for it. It's a beautiful leather glove. Had that strong, fresh leather smell. You know that smell I'm talking about? Like inside of a new car. So I go to the practice, I play the first day of practice, and I have, you know, it's starting to break that glove in, and it's a beauty. It's a beauty. So I go home, I put the glove in the utility room, I go to bed, I get up the next day, I go to school, and I come running in from school. I go in the utility room, and I look, and I don't see the glove. I said, "Ma, where's my baseball glove?" And my mother said, well, she said, "The last time I used it." Your parents ever do that to you?
Yes.
Yeah, the last time I used it. All right. Okay, so she didn't know where it was at. So I go, I'm looking at it, I look underneath, next to the washing machine. And there is the remnant of the glove. The only thing that was left was the thumb. The thumb. She ate the whole, I could have strangled her. But she was like my sister. You guys, could you sometimes want to strangle your sisters? You know what I mean? So Mr. Murphy was my 4th grade teacher. And he was a big Irish fellow, and he kind of scared me. Well, one day, Tom Shane and I, we sat at the back of the class, and we were talking. And he looked and he said, "Shh, shh." And so the two of us, we stopped talking. Well, Tom and I, we both had a problem. We both like to talk. Have you ever noticed that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth? Did anybody ever notice that? Do you know why? Because we're supposed to use them proportionally. That means we're supposed to listen more than we talk. Anyway, Tom and I thought it was the other way around. So we started talking again. And Mr. Murphy, he was kind of a short-tempered fellow. He looked back and went, "Shh, hey." And we looked at each other. We stopped talking. Well, we started talking again. And Mr. Murphy looked at us. And he just stared. And I thought, this doesn't look good at all. And then he started counting down from 10 to 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And he jumped up. He's a big guy, I told you. He jumped up and he started running down the aisle, coming right at us. I thought, whoa, we're in trouble now. He ran and he grabbed our chairs, both of them at the same time, and he drug us. I'm telling you, right out the door. Thanks for your help. Would you take that back? Give us some appreciation for playing Mr. Tocco there for a minute. Boy. I mean, we went right out the door into the hall. Our hearts were just right in our throat. And I'll tell you what, boy, after that, let me tell you, you talk about learning a lesson. Phew. I said, hey, you do not talk when Mr. Murphy says, "Shut up." I had a crush on Judy Malone. She had a little blonde there, and she sat, you know how you, when we went to school, you were assigned seats by your, the first letter of your last name. So, you always sat, for years I always sat in front of the same person. The same person sat behind me. Alphabetically we sat. So anyway, Judy was always sitting pretty close by, and I had a crush on her for a long time, but it didn't do me any good. Every Saturday, I would go to the movies. Now, when Mr. Tocco was 9, the most popular movies on the screen were the monster movies. Oh, I saw them all. Frankenstein, Dracula, They Came from the Planet X, Them, The Thing. Anybody remember The Thing? Oh, I tell you what, it was so scary. I mean, I was always scared at night. When the sun went down, I was always scared. In fact, I was so scared sometimes that when I would walk into my bedroom, I know it's not like this today, but I'd walk in my bedroom when it was dark, and I didn't just like walk up to my bed, and then peel the covers back. I would like get close to my bed, and then I would jump, because I would figure the thing was probably underneath the bed. I mean, I didn't want it to reach, grab you by the legs. Anybody ever had that happen to them? No, really? You guys too? Oh, see? Things haven't changed much. My favorite TV program was Walt Disney, and I used to have to go to bed at 9 o'clock sharp. Okay, there was no getting away from it. 9 o'clock. My favorite season was the fall. And as I mentioned, I like to play baseball, basketball, football, I ice skated. But I think basketball and baseball were my two favorite sports. My favorite people were my grandparents. My grandparents. They always took me places, always gave me money. You know, when I went over there, they always gave me cupcakes. I mean, how can you not love people like that? But they were great people, they really were. I was a pretty happy kid. You know my two favorite days of the year? My two favorite days? Saturday and Sunday. Well, that would be like more than 2 days a year, wouldn't it? Yeah? Whoa, that's pretty close. Christmas is one. Oh, that's close, no? My birthday, that's right. Yeah, two favorite days. And I went to church every Sunday. I had to walk. It was 1 mile each way. I was really glad to get there when it was cold outside, I'll tell you. I like school. I really like school quite a bit. And my biggest fear, you know, fear is like, you know, like some part of life, and we can learn how to deal with it and learn to discover which fears are real and which are false. But my biggest fear was that someday my grandparents would die. I mean, just like once in a while I wake up at night in the middle of the night and I'd be afraid, thinking about the fact that you know what, and it finally happened. And they were wonderful people, and I had them for a lot of years, and I was very sad. But you know what? That's life. That's life. So we have to accept what we can't change. And I also had a fear that my parents, I used to argue once in a while. I also had that fear that they might get divorced someday. Anybody ever have that fear? Sure. I mean, our parents, sometimes, well, that's good. Somebody said no, somebody raising hand. You know, I'll tell you what, it's tough sometimes to get along. Life is challenging. But see, your parents, my parents didn't get the benefit of this material. So in the case of my parents, they eventually did get divorced. But that's okay too, because that happens in life. And you can't, you know what, as a young person, you can't change it. And it sure wasn't my fault. Would never be your fault. So these things happen. My best class in school, I wish I could tell you that it was math or science or something, but actually it was spelling. Just spelling. It's very good at spelling. And that's pretty important today, because you know when you write, if you don't write the word correctly, they're not going to know what you're saying, right? So it's pretty important to be able to spell good. And my favorite food, now you never guess this, my absolute favorite food that I loved when I was 9. What do you think? Yes?
Spinach.
Spinach? No?
Dumplings.
Dumplings. So I like dumplings, but not as much as this other thing. Yes?
Spaghetti.
Oh, I eat spaghetti almost every day. Yes?
Pizza.
Pizza? No?
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Whew, no. I don't even like those now. Yeah? Nope.
Asparagus.
Nope.
Broccoli.
Nope.
Lasagna.
Nope.
Steak.
Nope.
Cauliflower.
You guys will never get it. Mr. Tocco loved liver. Oh. I know. Can you believe it? I mean, I almost can't even believe it myself. I'd say to my mom, when are we going to have liver? She'd say, when you cook it. So I actually used to cook the liver. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do for next week is we're going to pass out a little form, and it has some questions that I like what I just shared with you. So I'm going to ask you to tell me about yourself, so I know a little bit about you. And also I'm going to ask you to do some home opportunity. We're going to go back to the aspect of making good choices for yourselves today and for the rest of your life. This will become one of the most important matrix, one of the most important outlines that you'll ever see, learn, and execute. It's about how to make good choices. In life, when a decision is presented to us, first we have a thought. Then, inside of our mind, we have a little conversation with ourselves. Words. See, people can think about 1,000 words a minute. A person, most speakers, speak about 200 words a minute. So while Mr. Tocco's speaking, you also are thinking, and these little words are going through your head, 100 miles an hour. After you've had time to think about something and have the words of conversation with yourself, then you go into action of some kind, or you don't take the action. Now, if you take the action, depending on what it is, there's a very good chance that it may become a habit, something that you will do on a consistent basis. So you can see already, if you go back to this, when you're thinking about something, and it's important, you need to maybe give it a lot of thought before you take an action, because what kind of habits do we want to form in life? Good habits. That's it. It's what you want to form in life. Many things we do in life are habitual. So we want to form good habits, and we want to avoid, obviously, bad habits. Because when our lives are made up of many good habits, then you and I develop a very positive and a very strong character. Very strong character. And that will result in a very favorable destiny, which is your life. Now, let's take something as an illustration. Let's use this matrix with a very real thing. How many here are required to do homework? Whoa, when I see the hands go up like this. Now, put your hands down, thank you very much. When you think about it, kind of takes away from some things that you'd probably rather be doing, like playing with Nintendo, or maybe if you're athletically oriented or you like music or something, you'd probably rather be doing something else. Let me tell you a little something. My young friends here at St. Hugo, from this day forward, you have a terrific opportunity, and that is to never ever think about homework negatively again, because we're going to stop calling it homework. We're going to change it completely. We're going to eliminate homework. We're going to make it home opportunity. Let me tell you why. You know what, you guys, and I know if I were sitting there, I'd be doing the same thing as you right now. But actually, it's a great opportunity. Let me tell you why it's a great opportunity. Because where you go in life, if you want to travel this world, as Mr. Tocco has been able to do, to go to Europe many times and Hawaii anytime pretty much he likes, and to live where you want to live, and drive what you want to drive, and associate with the kind of persons you want to associate, and to develop all your skills, talents, and abilities. If you want to be an interesting person to talk to, and an interesting person to be a conversationalist with, because half a conversation, or at least, is listening, and to be able to listen to people and discern what they are saying, to understand what they're saying, if you want to do this, you must embrace today and forever your home opportunity, because where you go, what you have, and who you become is directly proportionate to the knowledge that you gain in life. So today, you're in school, and you will never be out of school, because school is never out for the achiever. It's a lifetime. Life is an experience of learning, and it's never over until we're dead. Let's hope that's not for a long, long time for all of us. So, let's go back to this. The next time, today, this afternoon, an example, who will tell me what's the best time to do their home opportunity? What's the best time to do it?
As soon as you get home.
As soon as you get home. I absolutely agree. As soon as you get home. Why? Because when you've done it, then you can go and watch TV, whatever, yes. Play, whatever you want to do. Okay? So, today, think about it. Think about it. Home opportunity. You know, just maybe, life can be incredibly exciting and dynamic, more so than I have ever dreamed, if I really embrace what I'm learning. You know, sometimes you have to learn things that are kind of silly. You go like, why am I learning this? You never know when you may need it. You never know when it's going to come in handy, when it's going to be useful to you. So, that's going to lead to an action. And you have to do it anyway, because this is a very fine school and it requires it, and I think that's terrific. But why not make it a habit out of happiness? Remember what Mr. Lincoln said? What did Mr. Lincoln say? A person is just about as he chooses to be. So make it a happy habit, and it will help develop that positive character and result in a great destiny. Let's all read this together, because I need you to memorize this by next week. Here we go. First comes the thought. Excellent. How many here know what the word destiny means? Okay, does anybody not know? It's okay, that's great. Destiny is the end result of your life. Your destiny, your future. Way out there in the future, your destiny. What you ultimately, your purpose for being here on this planet. Whether or not you discover it, or whether or not it is a great destiny, will be dependent very much on the knowledge we acquire. But also, how many would like to know what their destinies are going to be? Would you like to know? Well, here, would you like to hear a story? You guys like to hear a story? Okay, this is an illustration. This is a story that illustrates what your destiny is. Many years ago, and I'm not sure how many, there was a young fellow. He was around 9 or 10, and I'm not sure the exact age because that's not important. But he was in a very hilly part of America. Very hilly. And not far from his home was a very high hill. We'll call it a small mountain, okay? Because it did not have snow on top, but it was very high. And he first started asking his mother when he was 7 years old if he could climb the hill off in the distance. She said, no, you're too young, it's too dangerous. When he was 8, he asked, Mom, can I climb the hill? Am I big enough now? She said, no, you're still too young, it's too dangerous. Finally, when he was 9 or 10, that summer, he said, Mom, can I climb that hill this year or this summer? She said, honey, I think you're big enough. I think you can handle it. Well, she packed him a lunch and got a canteen full of water while he headed off toward that big, tall, high hill. And it was pretty high. It was about 5,000 feet. But it was very, very gradual. And it took him about 4 hours. He was very strong man. And he got nearly to the top. Now, wow, when he got up there, can you imagine what he could see? Why, he could see the farmlands. He could see the quilt work, the patchwork, when you're way up high, of the different colors, of the different food products that are planted. He could see the forests and the lakes, and way off, and just a tiny dot out there, he could see his home, where he lived. Well, he was so excited about being there. And then he realized that, wow, what a nice thing to be able to tell his friends and his family that he was there. But, you know, it was such a long way and such a difficult climb that maybe somebody might not believe him unless he had proof. What proof could he get, do you think, way up high like that? Oh, you guys got ideas, I like it. Well, I'll tell you what he got. There was an eagle's nest up there. Oh, yeah, right over there. The eagle was in it, flopping around like that. And pretty soon the eagle took off to go get some food. And so he went over, made that final climb up another 50 or 60 feet or so, looked in that nest, and there were 2 eggs. And he didn't want the eagle to catch him, you know, so he scooped up an egg real quick, and he put it very carefully into his little duffel bag, his little satchel, you know, his backpack. Very carefully. And he made his way back downhill, and he got home, and he was so excited. He said, Ma, I did it. I climbed all the way to the top. She congratulated him. He said, I've got proof. He opened up his satchel, and there was the egg. His mother looked at it. She wasn't all that pleased. It's an eagle egg. Honey, what are you going to do? Well, he didn't think about what would happen next, did he? He said, well, the egg's got to hatch, Ma. She said, well, how's it going to hatch? Who's going to hatch it? Oh, he said, I know. He said, I'll take it out and give it to one of the hens. Oh, yeah, one of the hens can hatch it. Well, his mom thought it was a pretty good idea as opposed to saying, why don't you take it back? So he went out there and he lifted up one of the hens and he put that egg right in there with the other eggs that the hen was laying on to hatch. Well, you know, about a week later, that egg cracked open and a little eagle came out. Came out, looked around, saw the hens laying around. Looked over there in the dirt, saw them pecking at, you know, corn and stuff laying on the floor. So pretty soon he was able to get down there on the floor and he was going around, pecking like a chicken. He was watching the other chickens. He figured he was a what? Well, he figured he was a chicken, didn't he? Sure. He's down there pecking and eating and he's trying to make sounds like a chicken. And pretty soon he's growing pretty fast because he's eating pretty good. And the people in the community hear about this eagle in a chicken coop, right there in the barnyard, acting like a chicken. And they started coming from all over to see what was going on. And sure enough, he was right there for everybody to see. And he continued to grow and get bigger and bigger. Well, the other chickens started to notice that he was really quite different. And one day, I mean, he had shoulders on him. I mean, he had a wingspan. One day, he looked up from pecking at this corn, and he looked off in the distance, way up in the sky. He saw another eagle, and his little heart started to pound in his chest, just beat faster and faster. He got all excited because he recognized something in him that was in that sky. And he spread his huge wings, and he began to flap, and all the dust and the feathers from the other chickens started to swirl, and he lifted himself up over that chicken wire and began to fly over the cornfields and wheat fields and over the treetops, higher and higher until he was circling that tall hill, that mountain. You see, my young friends, that young eagle was born to fly. And so are you. Where you will go, your destiny, your future will be very much determined by the decisions you make, the positive choices that you make. How many like that idea so far? Doesn't that sound pretty exciting? Absolutely. Now, starting today, there's one other thing I'm going to ask you to do. How many would like to hear a joke? You guys are going to love Mr. Tocco's jokes. You're not always going to understand them right away, but you'll eventually get them. This is a joke. It's about a 9-year-old. It's another 9-year-old. Notice how I picked all these stories about 9-year-olds? Wonder why. Well, anyway, it was a 9-year-old, and he was sitting on the curb. And next to him was a dirty dog. Little dirty dog. And there was a sign stuck in the ground right there, and it said, "Dog for sale, 25 cents. Yeah. Well, a businessman was walking by. It was the summertime. He was walking by, and he noticed this little fellow and a dog. He stopped. He said, "Good morning, son." Well, he said, "Morning, mister." He said, "I see you're selling a dog." Little fellow, he says, "Yes, I am." He said, "Would you like to buy him?" The fellow said, "No." He said, "I have a dog, thank you." He said, "But I did notice that your dog looks like he could be white." He said, "I want to make a suggestion. Why don't you pick him up, take him in the house, give him a good bath. Why not put a big red bow around his neck?" And his son asked for more money. The guy looked at me and said, "Mister," he said, "that is a good idea." So he scooped that dog up, took the sign, ran in the house, and the businessman went on to work. Well, the next day, the businessman was coming by, of course. There was a little fellow and the dog sitting there on the curb again. Why, the dog was a white dog. Well, he was white as he could be. And he had a big red bow around his neck, and a sign stuck in the ground said, "Dog for sale, $10,000. Whoa! The businessman says, "Son," he says, "do you think big? You really think big." The little fellow said, "Yeah." He said, "Would you like to buy him now?" Well, the businessman went to work the next day. He came by again for the third time, and they were gone. The dog and they were gone. Was curiosity got the best of him. Aren't you curious what happened? Yeah. So he went to the house and he knocked. Little fellow came to the door. He said, "Morning, mister." Businessman said, "Morning, son." He said, "No." He said, "You and the dog are gone." He said, "What happened?" He said, "Sir, I sold him." He said, "You sold him?" He says, "Well, how much did you get?" He said, "I got 10,000. Businessman said, "Wow." He said, "Come on." He said, "Tell me the truth." He says, "Come on, that's a lot of money." He said, "No, I got 10,000. He said, "How'd you do it?" He said, "Sir, I traded with a friend who had 2 $5,000 cats." Yeah, see? So what am I saying here? It doesn't cost any more to think big, does it? My young friends, you never know where you're going to be, except the fact you're going to be where you pretty much plan and believe that you're going to be. I'm going to work on more ideas and ways that you can become the best possible you compared to nobody else. Let me ask you this. In the morning when you get up, if you want to get excited about your day, you have to give yourself, what kind of talk? A pep talk. And whose pep talk is the best darn pep talk you ever heard? Joe Girard. That's right, Joe Girard. And how many are willing to give themselves that pep talk? Just try it for 30 days. Okay? I need you to help me out here and participate. Okay, that's almost everybody. Because I'm going to be checking with you next time we're together to see if you gave yourself a pep talk and what happened when you did. Let's practice it one time right now just so that I'm sure that you have it. Here we go. He said, "I feel good." Let's clap our hands. Here we go. I feel good. I feel great. Look out, world. I'm coming out one more time. Yes, everybody please stand. Everybody stand. You've been so good today. Repeat after me. I'm big.
I'm big.
No, bigger than that. I'm big.
I'm big.
I'm strong.
I'm strong.
I'm king of the beasts.
I'm king of the beasts.
Roar. All right, go out, have a great day, a great week. See you next week. You've been terrific today. Terrific. Mr. Tocco likes to shake hands, so when you leave, please shake hands. Remember, when you shake hands, who knows how to shake hands? How do you shake hands? Tell me, what's the best way? Which hand do you use? That's right, right hand. Oh, that's a good handshake. It's what, firm, not too hard, not too soft, right? Look at the other person and smile. Okay, guys. Mr. Sister Margaret.